Let me welcome you again. And if you haven't guessed by now, I'm Kathy Riley, Vice President of the Alumni Association. As we begin this portion of the evening, would you please stand as the Riverside Review leads us in the alma mater. In case you forgot the words, they're printed on the back of the program.
We love the halls of ivy that surround us here today, and we will not forget, though we be far, far away, to the hallowed halls of ivy, every voice will bid farewell, and shimmer off in twilight like the old vesper bell. One day a hush will fall, the footsteps of us all will echo down the hall and disappear. But as we sadly start our journeys far apart, a part of every heart will linger here in the sacred halls of ivy, where we've lived and learned to know that through the years we'll see you in the sweet afterglow.
Thank you very much. You can sit down. My name is Glenn O'Berkville. I'm the choir director here, and that was Miss Carrie Cook. She is our student teacher this fall, so thank you. This is 1/3 of the Riverside Review. The other 2/3 are at a band show with the marching band out in Medina right now. So we have just a portion of the group. If you want to see the rest, come into one of our other concerts. I have one more plug, and that is we are going to do something different in the spring for the first time, at least since I've been around. We're going to invite alumni to join us for a concert. Alumni, staff, community members, anybody wants to sing a couple songs with the choir at spring concert. So there'll be details on the social media stuff. So look for that. Love to see some of you join us. It's early in the year. We have 1/3 of the group. We are going to perform one song for you in addition to the Halls of Ivy. We'd like to do more, but this is what we got. So this is And So It Goes, the Billy Joel song from the late 1980s, I believe.
In every heart there is a room, a sanctuary safe as well for all I see. And so it goes, and so it goes, and you're the only one who knows. So I would choose to be with you. That's if the choice were mine to make, but you can make decisions too, and you can have this heart to break. And so it goes, and so it goes, and you're the only one who knows.
Mr. Obergefell, if this is only 1/3 of the group, we certainly have something to look forward to this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you once again the superintendent of the Riverside Local School District, Mr. Jim Kalis.
Thank you, Kathy. Can everyone hear me? Okay, thought I broke it. I would like to welcome our inductees, their families, and friends to tonight's annual Riverside Alumni Association's Hall of Fame dinner celebration. We have been honoring deserving people through this venue for several years now, and it has now become a way to appropriately celebrate the many people who have made a lasting impact on the Riverside Local School District. At Riverside, we often talk about how actions speak louder than words and how important it is to leave your mark in a meaningful and lasting manner. There is also a symbiosis to this as well, because others cannot leave their legacy without the help and support of those preceding them. Our inductees have done some amazing things as they left their mark by genuinely caring about others and giving themselves to their faith, family, community, and school district. Our inductees will continue to inspire others to follow their lead with actions that are meaningful and deliberate. I have always believed that how you are perceived by others is a result of the congruence between your words and actions. And if this is true, then I must say that our inductees tonight have followed that mantra. It is quite apparent that they have let their actions do the talking for them. You have left your mark on Riverside. You embody what we try to emulate here. And on behalf of the Riverside Local School District, I want to congratulate Mr. Terry Hamilton, class of 1979, Mr. Matt Domin, class of 1996, and Mrs. Carol Lewis, Riverside High School faculty, 1975-1995. I want to express my gratitude to you, and I wish you a memorable night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalis. It's still not right, is it? We're here to recognize 3 people tonight, but before we do that, I would like to give you a little history of what has gone on before. I believe this is the 14th time we have gathered to recognize people with Hall of Fame induction. In order to be nominated in the alumni or athletic categories, the candidate must have graduated 10 years prior to nomination. To be considered as a coach or in the faculty and staff categories, a candidate must have served on the district staff for at least 10 years and have retired or left the school district. As listed in the program, we have 118 who have been recognized. There are 8 graduates from the 50s, 30 from the 60s, 11 from the 70s, 14 from the 80s, and 6 from the 90s. And in case you were wondering, the class of 1967 has the most inductees with 7. Wonder where they're from. Then we have 8 coaches and 41 faculty and staff members. We have sibling inductees, we have parent-child, we have husband-wife, we have sister-in-law, brother-in-law, we have aunt, uncle, niece, nephew. And after tonight, I think we will have the first cousins combination. I would like to introduce some of those people to you now. As I say your name, would you please stand, and would everyone please hold your applause until I've recognized all of the attendees. In the alumni category, Mr. Bill Geyer, Toby Hanahan, Doug Pomfrey. I missed him, did he sneak out? And Heidi Skook. Heidi snuck out, okay. In the athletic category, Don Anderson, Eddie Gibbon, Don Humphrey, Don Simpson. And in the faculty and staff category, Carol Benroth, Lois Harrington, she probably went down to the hallway with George, Trent Norris, Gretchen Reed, John Reed, Denny Watson, Jan Wunderlich, and myself. Welcome, everybody. Well, good to see you back. Now for the new people to be inducted, we have Gretchen Reed, Alumni Board Member, and Bill Geyer, Alumni Board President, who will make the presentations.
Terry Hamilton, class of 1979, has achieved success in music and the real estate fields. In the process of building a fantastic career in these 2 fields, he is a man of great fortitude and endurance because he has been battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in the middle of all of his successes and efforts. He started with an Associate of Arts degree at Lakeland, and he pursued a musical career in Nashville, then returned to Ohio and achieved his real estate license and was quickly named Rookie of the Year for Realty One. He later moved to Florida and began work with Sun Central Realty Properties of the Villages. Many of you have probably heard of the Villages. It is a huge complex. Village is a very diminutive word for what it really represents. He became a trainer at the Village for the other realtors, and he was, when he was diagnosed with lymphoma, he underwent chemotherapy treatments in 03 and 04 and did not miss a day of work during that entire time. When his cancer returned in 2012, he underwent brutal maintenance therapy, and by 2015 returned as a trainer for the other realtors in the villages. He returned to Nashville and recorded a gospel album called Life's Railways. It won an award for excellence, and he has since been an inspiration for other people battling cancer. He has done volunteer work in the medical field and is considered a selfless, compassionate role model for everyone who meets him. I welcome Terry Hamilton into the Riverside Hall of Fame. Terry, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank the Riverside Alumni Association for this wonderful award. I am grateful and most humble for this award. Tonight, I'm thinking of my mother, Imogene Baker Hamilton. She was the greatest influence in my life, my spiritual mentor. And it was my mother who often quoted the scripture, "To whom much is given, much is required." And growing up in Appalachia with my family, my brothers and sisters, I always wanted to say, does she know we don't have very much? Somebody needs to clue her in. But my mother was talking about a different kind of gift, the spiritual gifts and the gifts that God gives us. She always thought that my music was a gift from God. And so I tried to use my music to give back to society and to make a difference where I could. And I remember one night, a night just like this, about 15 years ago, I was in Columbus. And I've been working with a group here in Lake County called the Lake County Society for Disabled Children and Adults. And they were located over on Lakeshore Drive in Mentor. And through about a decade of working with these people with various disabilities, I truly grew to love these individuals and drew inspiration from their courage and their strength. And it was during that time I wrote a song called "Someday I'll Fly," and it was about overcoming your disabilities and challenges in life and soaring like an eagle. Well, our then Governor Taft decided to adopt that song as the theme song for the youth with disabilities in the Special Olympics. So I was invited to come to Columbus, and I was given the citation from the governor. And I remember standing there thinking, I didn't deserve to be honored in any way because I was only doing what we're all called to do. And that's to lift each other up, to give back, to help one another. And I was humbled, and I'm humbled tonight because I feel much the same way tonight. I'm only doing what I should be doing anyway. So before I leave, I have to share one more thing with you. I was thinking about the teachers of Riverside tonight when I was sitting in that hall. It's been 37 years since I've been on the stage. And I'm thinking of Mrs. Boyer and Mr. Burris and Dan Grill and all these teachers that changed my life, they shaped my life. And Mrs. Mary Jane Watson, our guidance counselor, who always had our back. And you never forget these people who have such an impact on your life. And to them, it was not just a career, it was a calling. They were here for the students, and they shaped our lives. And so I'm grateful tonight to be here, and I remember them. But Riverside changed my life in another way that I want to share with you. I was about 16 years old, and I never ate lunch. I made up for it later in life, as you can see. But I remember walking down the hallway, and I was going down the hallway by Mr. Insco's room now, and I heard this voice, this young girl singing and playing a guitar. And I thought, my goodness, being a lover of music, I had to find out where that was coming from. So I poked my head in every room. And just past 101, the room dedicated to the oldest living Beaver tonight, who's a hard act to follow, by the way. In room 102, I saw this young girl playing a guitar during our lunch period and singing to her friends who were gathered around the floor. Most beautiful voice I'd ever heard. So I stood at the door and I gazed in at this beautiful girl. And she looked up and noticed me, and she stopped singing and stopped playing right away. And so I said, please, don't stop. And I said, may I join you? And she said, sure. So I came in and I sat down on the floor with her girlfriends, and I listened to her sing. I was 16. I'll be 56 in December. So that was just about 40 years ago. It started a wonderful friendship. This person became my best friend in life, my partner, my soulmate, my wife. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my wife, Donna. And so tonight, I dedicate this to her. My best friend, my soulmate, my love, Miss Donna, thank you. And thank all of you tonight for having me here. God bless you.
The athletic division of the Hall of Fame is probably the most specific that we have of the three, because obviously without being a great athlete, one can't be in it. However, we should also be aware that no one is in it unless they also possess character, integrity, and success in other fields. And our honoree tonight, Matt Domin, is certainly in that category. As far as his background is concerned, he had 4 years of football at RHS. He was year 1994 honorable mention player, the 95 defensive player of the year. He was named to the first team All-Ohio and the first team defensive lineman. He was named to the first team by newspapers and was the most defensive player of the year awards, along with being co-captain of the team. When he went to Mount Union College, he continued his career in athletics, and at Mount Union, he earned letters and honors. Outstanding freshman football player of '96. Three-time national champion and three-team all-defensive. He earned a degree in business administration. He is now a firefighter and paramedic and an instructor in the paramedic and firefighting fields with the Rocky River Fire Department. He pursues volunteerism for the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation and for the Multiple Sclerosis fundraising. Please welcome Matt Domin to the Riverside Hall of Fame.
I'm going to go up this way. So I'll follow the list. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Thanks. Can you hear me now? Do some adjusting. How's this? Much better? It's kind of funny. Way back when I first started playing football, I tried to be a quarterback, and if you had told me I was going to be in my high school Hall of Fame, and let alone my college Hall of Fame, you're crazy. I think in 7th grade, I broke my arm. 8th grade, I broke my ankle. ninth grade, I never started, and finally, my sophomore year, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to work, and I just kept wanting to do more than I thought I could. And this is my reward. But I also want to say thanks to the Alumni Association, thanks to my parents who have been to every game I've ever been in, and thanks to my wife, once again, for marrying me, and my friends Bob Ryan and Chris Bezing that I've known, I graduated with, so it's been over 20 years ago. And I want to thank Miss Riley, where you at there, for this. Thank you. Where'd you go? Oh, there he is.
He's there.
Thanks, Coach.
Our next inductee is Carol Lewis, a faculty retiree of 1995. She was more than a faculty member. She was a role model, a confidant of students, an absolutely beloved teacher. One student said she was loved by everybody who knew her. And that's a real compliment for any high school teacher. There aren't very many achieve that. Carol began her career at Baldwin Wallace and did graduate work for an LD certificate at Kent and Akron. She first taught at Willoughby Eastlake and started at RHS as an LD tutor, and from 1975 to 1995 took on the home economics post at Riverside, including foods, cooking, and then later what changed to life studies. I just want to digress. Those who know me know it wouldn't be me if I didn't digress at least once. She taught all of us lessons. Lessons about, for example, what not to do in the kitchen, anybody's kitchen, but especially hers. Do not clink the spoons on the pans, pots and pans in the kitchen. And at the beginning of the year, when she hadn't made that clear to the students, she would come roaring into the faculty lounge and say, they're driving me crazy, they're clinking the pans, the pots and pans together and clinking the spoons on the pans. And I said to her, well, what's the big deal? Are they breaking something? Are they breaking the bowls or something? And she said, no, but the sound of 25 of them doing it is driving me crazy. So every time I clink a pot or pan in my own kitchen, I think of Carol. The position that she took as life studies teacher was the one where she really shined beyond all. She found her true calling because the students were learning life lessons about marriage, family living, child rearing, much of the time through very innovative teaching parts of her curriculum. The egg babies, that was one of the most well-known in the school. Students had to dress up a raw egg like a little baby, put it in a container of some kind that was meant to be a bassinet or a carriage or something, walk around with this thing and take care of it well enough for a week that they didn't break it, because that's what the lesson was about raising a real baby. It was a commitment. And fun for them and fun for the rest of us as well. She listened to the kids' problems. She responded to them with warmth and compassion. There was a posting that went on the internet just lately about her from a girl who said, I loved Mrs. Lewis. My sister died while I was in high school, and she was the only adult who really understood and took time to talk to me like an adult and was not condescending and saying things, "I understand how you feel," because nobody did understand how I felt. But she taught me to face things with fortitude and courage, and she helped me in my other courses and helped me achieve a great deal of self-esteem. And I wish all of the students could have had the opportunity to be in her classes. Her loyalty to her friends is legendary. She still comes back to, even though she moved to Maryland, she comes back to this area, goes to visit some of the faculty members now in nursing homes. She makes contact with former students. They still write to her. She writes back. She has been a volunteer for hospice, for Meals on Wheels, and more church activities than one could count. She is truly a caring, giving person that we are so happy to honor in the Hall of Fame tonight. A beloved friend and teacher to all. Carol, come forward.
Don't get old.
Oh, the alternative's bad.
I want to look at Gretchen's paper because I think you have me confused with somebody else. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for those who nominated me. This is a great honor to be here, and I appreciate that. And also a great surprise this evening. We had lunch with two couples who are some of our dearest friends, and they're going to make me cry because they came in this evening to be with us, which was a great honor also, and I appreciate that. I can remember the day and exactly where I was when John DeLong, who was in, I believe, the assistant superintendent, came to, or called me on the phone, and I was supposed to take the LD class that year, full time. And he said, "Carol, would you rather teach home ec?" And I said, "Absolutely, that was my first love." And he hung up, and of course, there I sat crying. But I remember that moment, and I've never regretted being part of the faculty at Riverside High School. I did form some wonderful relationships with the faculty. I do still see them. I still have emails, now a little bit better with Facebook and things like that, but I do keep in touch that way. I'm very fortunate to have several students that I hear from on Facebook and emails and at Christmas and things like that. Some of you know John Weiss, and I was hoping he would be here tonight. I taught under John, and John ran a tight ship. And sometimes I didn't always fit into that tight ship category. So he would come in some mornings and he'd leave his office and come back and find me sitting at his desk with my feet up on it. And, you know, we had fun. We did fun things like that. We had a white German Shepherd at the time, and we'd come into checkout day, which was always a kind of a miserable day anyway, trying to check out at the end of the year. And I would have our dog sitting at his desk when he would come back. It didn't speed up checkup day any, but we had fun. But we also had the serious times, and I cherish those. As I say, I never really regretted my decision to take the home economics at that time job. And I also want to thank my husband, who is here with me, because he's been a wonderful support. He was part of the Mentor school system, so both of us worked in education, sometimes hairy and sometimes fun, but we made it through. And he had, what, 37 years in Mentor with junior high, so that's why he says he looks so old. that it was with junior high kids all those years that he was stealing. But it was wonderful, and I have really appreciated it. I appreciate this honor, and I thank everybody for it, and it will be a wonderful thing to remember. So thank you very much.
Let's have one more hand for Matt and Terry and Carol.
Congratulations again to the inductees, and welcome to this special group of people. There are thousands of people, students, employees, and friends, who have passed through these halls of ivy and left their mark here or other places in the world. However, we cannot recognize them unless they have been nominated first. Nomination forms were available at the table in the lobby or may be found on the Alumni website, RiversideAlumni.com. Sorry, small plug. Please spread the word or nominate someone yourself. This concludes our Hall of Fame ceremony, but before you leave, just a short reminder. To George Insco, congratulations again. It was our pleasure and honor to be involved in this dedication ceremony tonight. To the rest of you, we hope you will return for our next Hall of Fame induction ceremony next year, but more importantly tonight, please stop in the old room 101 to see the new George E. Insco Jr. conference room. Please have a safe trip home, and we hope to see you all again soon. And thank you for coming, and good night.